I am a physics fanatic. I love any game that uses physics objects. I loved seeing ragdolls slammed to the ground after a successful headshot or cars being destroyed with the help of soft body physics. My enjoyment though clearly originated from funny or convincing ragdolls from various shooters and flash games. But ragdolls aren't enough for me. I am in need of something else entirely. There are only few games which feature physics simulation to create motion, many of these games belonging to Rockstar Games, which raised the bar for physics-based animation responses. Their games use a physics engine called Euphoria, with which NPCs gain the ability to dynamically react to their environments thanks to motion synthesis. If pushed, an NPC will try to balance itself out, and when struck, it will try to protect its head and even react to wounds inflicted by the player. The games that use this engine to the fullest are Grand Theft Auto 4, Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne 3. The most realistic simulations of these three games possesses GTA 4 and its expansions. Other games like Human Fall Flat and Gang Beasts use physics-enabled characters as a comedic factor. The physics are definitely part of the overall game experience, but we sadly do not see many physics-based games which are innovative and serious like Grand Theft Auto 4 was. Exanima is one of those serious and innovative games. When it came to early access, it was kinda misunderstood. Many people labeled it a drunken fighting simulator, a game with just a funny mechanic. It isn't or wasn't seen for what it is, a challenging, hardcore, physics-based dungeon crawler and fighting game. Exanima's physics simulation is constant. The character's motion while walking, running and fighting is completely generated, and the characters even interact with their environments. They stumble, fall, balance themselves out. When attacking, a character's motion, body mass, height and body type influence the strength, speed and balance of the attack. A malnourished character, for instance, will have a hard time using heavy and unbalanced weapons, and might fall more often due to their anorexia. Obese characters, on the other hand, are rather slow and maybe cannot walk that fast. Short characters have problems properly hitting certain parts of the enemy's bodies, and very tall characters also have this same dilemma. Meanwhile, a well-trained character of average height will swing their sword more effectively and will not have nearly as many problems overall. During a fight, it is very evident how much of a difference the physics make. Attacks throw enemies out of balance, combos can be chained together easily with use of momentum and overhead swings and thrusts, and every takedown feels impactful and dangerous. When taken out, characters will stumble, fall and mostly roll up into the fetal position. When wounded critically, a character might also flinch and change their stance for a while before reverting back into their normal combat position. Another curiosity about the game's combat is that it is very true to life. There are some basic rules of combat that you apply to this physics-based game. Distance, speed, usage of mass, and momentum. When I was about 13, I boxed for a while, and I was always told the following things. Defense. When you have a longer reach than your opponent, always try to keep him further away so that you can hit him, but he can't hit you. If the opponent has a further reach, you should try to move in very close so that he can't hit you as effectively or at all. Speed. Speed is more important than your strength. Punching someone fast amplifies the severity of the impact and gives you less of a chance to expose yourself for too long. Body mass and momentum. You have to know how to use your weight. When punching, you want to move as much of your body as fast as possible to create a devastating impact. You can also use your body mass to build up momentum after evading a punch to wind up into a counterattack targeted at the opponent's exposed part of the body. You may be thinking, Cheecken, why are you telling me about boxing and why is it relevant? Well, Exanimas combat works exactly like that, and you may want to know this info too, just in case someone wants to beat your ass and you have to defend yourself. To master Exanimas combat, you have to take these basic rules of combat into consideration. With every attack you make, you can turn and move the character's body in any way you want with the WASD keys and mouse movement. Those movements build up momentum with your body mass and make your weapon or fist reach the target faster and hit harder. If you don't utilize this, your attacks will be much less effective and you will have a much harder time bringing your opponent down. The physics simulation makes the combat unique, impactful, and that while looking very realistic. It would not be an exaggeration to say that I never saw a game quite like this. But then why was Exanima seen as a game with just a funny gimmick at first? Well, the problem most likely lies in the controls. It is hard to master the controls, especially when you play this game for the first time. Every motion is happening relative to the direction your character is facing, meaning that pressing W will move the character to the way they are facing, not necessarily to the top of the screen. In addition to that, mouse movement also is very important. With the mouse you control the rotation of the character's body, which is very useful in combat. But what happens to every beginner is that they overswing their attacks, which leads to losing balance, which in turn leads to falling to the ground or exposing yourself to the enemy. The controls are hard. Sadly, it seems that quite a few players do not have the patience to master them though. Exanima does many things right, but since it's an early access game, I would like to bring forward some suggestions regarding the combat. It would be nice to see more variations when NPCs or the player character are either unable to fight or dying. Some suggestions are: 1. After being mortally struck with a blunt weapon, an NPC or player character starts having seizures and shaking uncontrollably until death. 2. Animations of characters bleeding out and struggling to stay conscious. 3. Alive fighters on the ground holding their wounds and moaning or screaming. 4. Fighters rolling on the ground in pain. 5. Visibly broken bones or dislocated limbs after critical hits when fighters lie on the floor. And on top of that, I would just love to see blood stain the environment. The battlefields just look way too clean after a fight. There also is another thing you need to know about the game that you most likely don't. Exanima is a proof of concept game and a prequel to a maybe upcoming open world RPG by the same studio with the same physics-based animations and gameplay. The game's concept looks really promising, and I hope that Exanima will be successful enough to make the next game, sui generis, happen. Also, what is completely unbelievable, the game was developed in a homebrew engine by a small indie developer team. An engine of being able to handle good-looking graphics, a physics system that could rival Euphoria itself, seemingly ray-traced shadows and realistic sounds. If that ain't impressive, I do not know what is. Exanima is an innovative game. The combat system is, to my knowledge, completely unique, and the motion synthesis isn't just a gimmick. In my opinion, Exanima is a prime example of how motion synthesis can be used in a game, just as Grand Theft Auto 4 was. I wish the best of luck to the developers of Mettle Entertainment, and I hope that we can see a feature-complete Exanima and a sui generis happen. Either way, the combat will be groundbreaking nonetheless.